So from now on, it is being recorded.
Yeah.
And we just it's just good for us to let people know
Yeah.
um, before we start. So now you should be co-host. See if you received a message saying that now you are a co-host. Yeah, perfect. Amazing. I can already see your screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would leave it like that.
Okay,
That's
yes,
okay.
it's good. So
Yeah.
once people come in, and
Mm.
I'm gonna make sure that everybody will be muted, just because this is not a webinar, it's a regular meeting. So people could open their cameras if they want, but I'm gonna make sure all of them will be muted during the presentation. But in the end, if you're gonna open to questions, they can put it on the chat or they can ask themselves just by opening the audio. Okay?
Yeah, yeah, both is okay for me, only that I'm not so good in such multitasking to read the chat and to talk at the same
That's
time.
that's okay. I can do that for you then. So I'm gonna be paying attention in the chat when we finish the when you finish the presentation, and then I can help you with the questions that comes up. Okay?
I have a little bit concern all the time already that it's a very long talk if I'm just talking. So
Okay.
on one hand side, I changed the rhythm of presentation, not to talk just about the products, but also a little bit what's important, and then to continue with products. And
Okay.
with me is one participant who will share her experience.
Okay,
So to
amazing.
make it a little bit more vivid.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, it's good. So it's not only a monologue, right? Like
Yes,
just you
yes,
speaking. Yeah, it's
yes,
nice to
yes.
have other
Yeah,
people speaking as well. That's fine. It's good.
yeah. So congratulations for managing all this. There are so many
Yeah,
presentations and
exactly. I
so much
know
going
we
on.
are like in the end of the month. We my boss and I and like everybody who is participating, we are like so tired. Like we
I
really
can
need to
imagine.
rest a little bit for a couple weeks. But yeah, it's amazing. I love to do it. The festival is growing a lot. We are receiving a lot of compliments. So we think that we are helping the textiles community to grow here in New York, and also internationally, because event like this allow people from abroad to also participate. So yeah, we are more than happy to do it. I love it. I mean, I'm a textile artist as well. So for me, it's just doing what I love.
Yeah, yeah. I looked at your web page just at the beginning. It's great what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it also gives a kind of a feeling being part of a network.
Yes, of course. Yes, I we totally agree. W- Once we grow our connections, we are able to help others and also to get help more easily when we need, like for even for exhibitions that will be happening, and so we can go there and support like the artists that we have already met before. So once you
Yeah.
get in the community, you start like to help and get help. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
it's
Okay, that's one step more than I thought, but actually that's a dream situation. But it's always, we are so used now also to be on a Zoom that it's nearly
Yeah, we are
it's
super
a
used.
network.
I mean, and it's okay. We live it 2 years just doing everything on Zoom, right? So I
Mm.
think now we added for in our like daily lives as something normal, usual. I mean, it's
Mm.
okay. It's good to have online the Zoom. So as I said, people from abroad can also participate and show their um, exhibitions or practice or any project that they are involved in.
Mm. I hope to come in person, but then because I would like to be part of some workshops to have experience.
Uh-huh.
Then it
Of
happened
course.
that I was so busy, and then I couldn't really find enough days between obligations. So
Yes,
I
I
need some
understand.
time to adapt. I cannot come in the evening and have a deliver in the morning and then go to two exhibitions. That would be nothing.
Yeah, but yeah, perhaps for next year, you already know it's September. We are gonna be here again. Um, we are for the next year, we might try to set up the website a little bit earlier than we did, because a lot of event comes like in the very last minute. And then we need to arrange everything very quickly on the website as soon as possible. But if we have a little bit more time, then people can better plan, like to come and participate in, like you said, workshops or any other event that you would like to attend. Yeah, so this is something we need to work on a little bit more to get prepared a little bit earlier.
So now is the 10th year. You are starting new decade.
Yeah, we are completing. So the festival is completing 1 year, 10 years, but the prize, we also have a prize and for a textile student. And it's the prize is 11 years. So it's always like the festival has one last year than the prize, but it always started with the prize, and then the next year we started. I'm not here since the beginning. I started in 2023. So this
Mm.
is my third year of New York Textile Month. But yeah, and it just started like super simple, with some couple artists, and then the festival is growing. This year we had 99 events.
How many?
So
99.
it was the biggest festival ever that we've done. Yeah, 99. Of course, counting with in person, online exhibitions like workshops, everything. And yes, we were super glad.
Congratulations. Yeah, and I noticed, yes, they are more and more. So that's interesting how some decide. So for the last moment.
So sorry, can you repeat? I didn't hear.
Very many participating.
Ah, yes, yes, yes.
Mm. Mm. But I just that's not really relate to New York Textile Month, but it's approximately a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was in one on Zoom with Mrs. Edelkraut, and I
Oh,
just
Lee
came.
Edelcourt? Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I was many times for 3-4 years already, but I've just come back from Paris tonight.
Okay, so you might be tired.
But I was so impacted, obviously, with the webinar. I don't know, were you on that webinar when she was saying, it was just before Olympics, when she said the Paris is new city. It's Paris because it still it is it was able to retain some of that old culture or something old traditional. Were
Okay.
you on that workshop, perhaps?
Um,
I don't
so it
remember.
was 1 year ago, you said? I need to research which let me check. So
About trends. It was about trends. And it was such a beautiful one because there were photos and music, French music. And
I
now
know,
when
I
I was
know, I
walking
know.
in Paris, I just said exactly, Paris is still Paris. But I see that Liselotte joined us, and Liselotte is a friend of mine. I'm so
Lesotho. Ah,
happy.
okay. So I was going to say we already have a guest here. So, but now that you said, I remember. I think it was the autumn winter trend for fashion that she did, and the theme of the trend forecast was Paris.
Yes,
And so yeah, and she had a long video playing the music with a lot of pictures.
exactly.
And she was also talking about a concept that I didn't know so far, which was sunka set, that like from 5 to 7. that she was
Yes, yes,
explaining that the
exactly.
hotels are busy because of the lovers. Yeah, I know which presentation you were talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. 5 to 7. We need to learn. That's intercultural learning. Lieslotte, that's a time for lovers, but that time for women to be with lovers.
Yeah,
In Paris.
exactly. In Paris, a lot of people go to hotels from 5 to 7 because they leave work and then they cheat and then they go back home, kind of like that. I don't know. Uh,
No,
but yeah, it was an interesting webinar. I
yeah,
know
it was
she
very
is
good one.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Lieslotte is an artist as well, among others. She works in AI with AI a lot. Has a
Okay.
virtual gallery, very interesting one. But Lieslotte, perhaps you tell more now. Oh, I don't know. Few words before
I'll
other
I'll
people. Join.
I'll wait until afterwards. But I'm delighted to be here. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, we are glad to have you with us. O- Okay, so I can see that some couple people are already here. We are gonna just wait a little bit more for a couple more people to join.
As my PowerPoint is on, I don't see now all uh, uh, all
Yes, it
faces,
is
but
on. We can see that.
yes.
Mm.
But I will say good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depends where you are. I'm happy that we are here together the next hour and a half. But let us wait perhaps, Leila, for some minutes or a minute. Would you mind writing where are you from in the chat so that we make it a little bit more personal? New York, Austin, Sweden, Stockholm. Welcome. We just talked in those few minutes before, as we were preparing for the presentation, how great it is that we have the possibility to meet online on Zoom. that makes the world really so so small in a way, and interconnected, that we can share. Yeah. So there's always that struggle. Sure, we wait for some more minutes because we know that some more applied, but we have some guests who are in time, so I would not like to take your time just waiting. So I would slowly begin, perhaps with introduction. But first of all, I would say thank you very much for the team who prepared this, not just this presentation, but the whole month, the 10th time already New York Textile Month. It's a great opportunity that we can meet, that we can learn from each other, and yes, also to connect. So today I'm going to present our project, Galleria l'arte di seta. It's about silk squares. And the aim of this silk square is to connect past and future, seen and what we dream about. The presentation is going to be recorded, so you just can relax and listen. And if you have questions, of course, please write them in chat. I just apologize. I'm not so very good in multitasking, to talking and answering at the same time, but perhaps we'll make a break. Perhaps Lilia will show if tell us if there are more questions, but for sure there's opportunity for questions and answers at the end as well. So as I mentioned already, our aim is to connect the creativity and achievements of past generations, that things that they were done and created and have sold in the past are not forgotten, that we don't start from the beginning as that nothing happened. At the same time, we do this to be richer as community and people, not to think how beautiful everything or easy or simple it was in the past, not at all, but just to collect that knowledge, those insights, and through these achievements of past generations to develop our sensitivity and to be even more creative in future. The way how we realize that mission is that we use print squares as a basis on which we put prints of different artworks. And we focus on local environment. For the moment, it's still Slovenia, but it could be also any other local environment. And it's about natural beauty and cultural heritage. Culture, I mean, in the broader sense, it can be technical, whatever, you know. We will see during the presentation what were the topics. So where I come from, or where we come from that tiny small place. It's dark green. 130,000 people. It's a small country. But at the same time, when I say it's a small country, it's quite, has a very different geographical and also historical complexity. So as you look on the right side, our borders are to Italy, to west, to north, to Austria, and Hungary is on the right side, and Zagreb, Croatia, is in the south. We have a little bit of coast as well. It's Adriatic Sea, and through this sea we are connected to Mediterranean. This is for us very important because in this way we have all, as we say, in 1 hour we are in the Alps and we can ski. In 1 hour we are on the coast and we swim. And if you go to Hungary, it's a very different culture and food and music, so we can enjoy in that very much. At the same time, we are what we tell to ourselves. what kind of stories we tell. So objectively, for example, a small number of people, a little bit more than 2 million. If we look at the Olympics, results of the Olympics, we win each time many medals. We are very sport people. Some people are really world names like Primož Roglič or today Pogačar, the only one in the history who won the Tour and all those world races 2 years in a row. Yesterday again, Luka Doncic, Janja Garnett. She was the only woman who was 4 times a world champion in climbing. Why I'm talking about that? Because these stories are important. If you talk with Slovenian, most probably the first sentence will be, it's a very small country, you know. We are very small. We are just, you know. So, and this is also probably a part of my motivation, why I work with this project. To connect with past achievements of previous generations, but also to share who we are, to inject, so to say, possibilities for young people as well, for young families who are very often nowadays from different kinds of world, to have opportunities to talk who they are, where they come from. Because these stories actually connect us. They go from generation to the generation. In the past, it was quite easy. Now it's more complex. It's in the sense, again, to understand each other better, to know who am I in order to understand and learn from others and take part of other cultures as mine. So we invite artists to interpret stories that are from such or another reason important, and to then we present them on silk. And our first collection was Whispers of Slovenia. This was the collection about 5 regions in Slovenia. And the aim at that time was to have something what we can give as a present to Slovenians or people abroad that we would be proud of. That's part of the story I started with. We are small, you know, and we need to talk about it because we are quite invisible. So it's about Ljubljana. One of the regions is Ljubljana. I will not go through all the regions, but I would like you to gain that sense how we work, what it is about. So here there are 2 pictures of 2 architectures. The left one is National Bibliothek in Ljubljana, which is a place we were quite proud at. It's done by architect Jožef Plečnik. He also is in UNESCO heritage because we say he changed the city in the sense that it's very humane. He gave humanity to the city with all these forms. And then this is on the left is our main place where also many young people meet, and its connection with the old part, which is behind, and above is the river Ljubljanica, which you can see on the right side as well. So these gates or these forms are quite typical for Ljubljana. The area is called 3 Bridges, by the way. And on the right, you see the river Ljubljanica, and it's exactly this color. Of course, after heavy rain, it's not that green anymore. It becomes a little bit more brownish, but this is the color. And on the top is another church, which is very, very simple, and it was done with a very small amount of financial sources, also made by Plečnik, but it's a real pearl. It's very different to typical Catholic churches. And after it was renewed a few years ago, it's like that, because before it was completely green because of plants that were climbing up to the bell. So we say that that green leaves are now on the scarf. On the left, you see, I just wanted to show the colors, because some people, they would stay with colors and say, oh, this is Ljubljana, this is your colors, this is the city. And some who are more detail oriented, they would go and try to discover. So this is artwork. So it's not so detailed. It's not a touristic product that you could recognize everything, but there's some things that can be recognized. Interestingly, as we are talking about storytelling, it happens once there was a client here, and she said, because by the way, this scarf is also framed and it's on the wall. Oh, Lydia, tell me, what is this about? And I said, oh, please take a look. What do you think? And her first words were, oh, you know, I'm a sports woman. I like sport. I'm not so much for art, you know. I said, okay, it's not about art. Just take a look. What do you see? And she started looking, and then she said, it's so green. I don't know. I see so much water here. So much water. It's like that has very long history, but also future. You know? And then I said, yes, because it was for me very interesting to hear that. It's the region in Ljubljana where it was settlement in prehistorical time, and there was a lot of water because there was a marsh, and that were those first dwellers on wooden, like in Venice, you know. And then I told her that, and her eyes grow big, and she said, that's impossible. My mother was born there. My grandmother, she lived in my grandmother's house. You know, so that's a story that, of course, touched me deeply. Also, yeah, she liked then that scarf very much. So I'm talking about scarves because at the beginning, these were scarves for us. And I also wanted to have different sizes. Like on the right side is pocket square. It's a small size, 44, because I thought we find something as a present for a man, but then we don't have for a woman, or the same. So here, this idea of having a present for both is still clear. So that's the same. Here you can see the design a little bit as a scarf or a framed, and a little bit of plechnik. Excuse me. Another city is Piran. And this is Piran is on the coast. Everybody would expect that the scarf will be blue, but it's not blue. As you see here is so dark orange, brownish, because that's exactly the color of the roofs. But okay, that's the artist, how he expressed his experience of Piran. Later on, we organized an event, and I invited Anya, the performer. So through yoga and her embodiment, she showed how she experienced the city and the scarf. And here is a very short impression, because each scarf has also an impression that the author wrote. Again, it's not for a guidebook, but it's more to be in touch with some feelings. It's not meant to be read completely, but just for a feeling. Yeah, why this horse, this wise horse? That's Lipizzaner. In the year when this scarf on this collection was published, it was the year of when we celebrate 440 years of Lipizzaner, white horses. And it's also part of UNESCO from that year, part of UNESCO heritage, together with Austria, Hungary, Croatia, and Slovenia, because that was already a political problem. Whose horse is Lipizzaner? Because we said it's ours, because Lipizzaner were bred for Hungarian and Austrian Empire in Lipica. Lipica is in the region of Slovenia. But of course, Austrians are very proud. They have Lipizzaner Reitschule. They would say Lipizzaner are ours, and so on. So that was a very good way how to connect nations and how to connect all knowledge about breeding this Lipizzaner. And we said, okay, this is the year of Lipizzaner. It's part of heritage. We can talk about that, these stories as well. So Lipizzaner took the first collection to the world. And perhaps just a short moment here about the design, about motif. The artist is a visual artist. Installations are his strengths, and he also graduated in textile faculty plus art faculty later on. So he used here photo, graphics, and installations. And small parts, like, so very much to the right is a part of violin, and a little bit lower is a part of the cathedral. And on the left side, where you see the black points, and it's a little bit brighter, it's about salt fields. I'm just want to say there's again a very, very rich motif. And some people would go with finger from one part to another one and ask and check and try to remember and then to tell a story. Each time when they touch with a finger the silk, you know, it's like that they stop and it's, aha, oh yes. You know, so it's great to see them how they, yeah, how they focus, how they come in touch with some stories. Blade is the third one. This is the blade. Typically, you see everything in green and then beautiful water around the island in the middle. Again, this is Anya who performed catching the memories and stories that are put symbolically on the scarf. But the artist decided to make bluish in winter, because in winter time when it's frozen and there's snow, it's really like a magic. And we can talk about history here a lot, because I say when it's frozen. When I was a small girl, we went there skating, ice skating, and we were walking on the lake. Now no more, because it's there's still snow, but climate has changed already. So again, already the color invites us to exploration. And it's packed in a box, as you see here on the left side. There's a short story signed. And I didn't mention that all these scarves are limited edition. They could be called graphics on silks and are artworks, but as I say, here was the emphasis on having a nice gift that you can be proud to give. And so one such gift came to Inverness, to northeast Scotland. And it was nice to see also how the word spread around. After the first collection, of course, we gained this first experience, new learnings, new ideas, and we made some changes. These changes are not visible to clients, but we started to understand the possibilities and opportunities of silk square more than before. Like creativity. There was a photographer, Olga Lipic, who took scarves to Venice. Actually, at the beginning, it was thought that that would be a promotional photo shooting, but very soon it started to be something very, very different. She took these scarves, and while she was taking photos, she realized, like here, for example, that suddenly she experienced Venice in a very different way. She was talking about realizing about that bodily experience that is the same word, that water is the same in Venice or in Slovenia or in Croatia, that connection with water, because before she came to Venice, and Venice are beautiful, and it stayed with that. And looking for places where to take photo as a promotional photo, she recognized again some objects, I will say object that she hasn't seen before in a completely a new way. Like here, for example, is this important sculpture. It's a partisan woman who died in the Second World War, but it's really lying. It's put on, so to say, on the water. When the water is high, when the sea is high, it's covered by water, so you cannot see it. If you notice, there's somebody walking here. Each time when you go to Biennale in Venice to Arsenale, you walk here. I walked, I don't know how many times. I looked around. I'd never looked down, but and the same her. So we said, look, they open our eyes. We see things that we haven't seen. The same here. This is the cars square. Now we call them squares. No more scarves, because there are so many stories. And if we say scarf, people start to think about accessories, what to put around the neck. But actually, there are stories there. And the story here was that how connected actually again Venice and Slovenia are, because in Venice Republic, when there was Venice Republic, the western part of Slovenia was part of the Venice Republic. And when they built the city, they needed trees to build for pillars. And they brought most of those trees from Slovenia and Croatia. So in Croatia, Istria, for example, or even down further to south, some parts have no trees, only slowly now, yes, with foresting. But before there were no trees because they were used for pillars for building Venice. And through looking at this scarf, she realized, look, this scarf is now in Venice. It's the same circle. It's the same circle in the same history. Another new insight was how children engage in these motifs. For children, because it's big, this is 90 centimeters, 90 centimeters. They just enjoy, and this is just a short snapshot, but they were talking so long and they didn't lose the interest. They were just amazing. So that's something what we used later for what to do with squares. So what we do with squares, that we opened new stories. We create 2 hours long workshops where people learn, share, with emphasis on sharing in informal learning. For example, about silk. It was completely forgotten that in this area, in Slovenia, they produced silk. They stopped producing silk after the Second World War. So as also in Italy, silk production went down very much, but in Italy, they had a lot more history, and they were much better in that. So they recovered starting in 60s and then in 1890s and now. But the Silk Route, European Silk Route, came from Napoli, Florence, Como, Venice to Gorizia, which was Slovenia, Karst and Prekmurje. It means to east part of Slovenia. Why that? Because of the Maria Theresia, emperor. She wanted to, that was the emperor of Austro-Hungarian Empire. And she wanted to have silk. She wanted to have dresses that are so beautiful as emperors in Paris or somewhere else had. So she paid extra money for farmers to have mulberry trees. So through that, she spread, that silk production in the whole region. And so the production was in this area, but then to really make beautiful dresses, that was especially in Gorizia, in Italy. So Gorizia, by the way, it was Slovenian city, but after the Second World War, stayed in Italy. So in our side, New Gorica was established, and right now, that's why I'm telling that right now both Gorica are cultural capital of Europe, and it's the first time that two countries have cultural capital together. So the silk was connected very much. So then, it's when you had one idea and see you just continue, and we went to, we organized a workshop really with a producer. He is very very informed and also has many mulberry trees, so he knows how it was produced in the past, how is it produced now. Again, so many stories that were international group of ladies, and some didn't want to touch the worms, for example. Another one touched it and put it against the face, and how soft, how beautiful is the worm. And then one said, "Oh, I'm not so romantic. When I was in a primary school, I needed to help with that, because when there was the season, it was important to collect all these cocoons very fast. And in the school that was in Romania, they needed to, every pupil needed to help. Yeah, and then there are these workshops that I love very much, which is about art. We don't talk about scarves, so we don't even mention scarves. We have different topics so that it's always interesting, but then I facilitate these workshops, but I don't know what's going to come out of that. So to make, I'm happy that one of the participants is here today with me, and she's going to share with you what's her experience being on one of such workshops. This is Damiana. Hi. I'm Damiana. I'm happy that Lidija invited me to tell you about my experiences with art gathering. So when silk squares were introduced first to me, I saw them as a square scarves only, and as a beautiful piece of accessories, a beautiful piece of accessories. But the story behind it led me to the new dimension, and now I don't see it as an accessory, but as a piece of art. So at an art gathering, so this was the breaking point, I had the opportunity to see and touch several silk squares, and I saw the design I hear the story with subtitle music in the background, and it was different for each square, each theme. And among them, one that truly captivated and inspired me was titled Kras. It's the region in Slovenia in southwest. And this square stood out with its powerful interplay of fiery orange and gray and black and muted brown and green tones. And as the silk unfolded before me, it evoked vivid images and sensations. Fire and wind and scorched earth and the relentless fury of nature. And I could almost feel the harsh weather conditions and the raw elements and the fierce struggle for life in an unforgiving environment. So, as I said, it reminded me on Kras. It's a region in Slovenia in the southwest, and the landscape there is known for its rugged terrain and strong winds and extreme natural forces. And the silk, that was the most impressive to me. The silk seemed to capture a very essence of that place. So the nature at its most dramatic and untamed shape. So for me, these silk squares are no longer a piece of fabric. They are pieces of art, each of them telling its own story. And Kras in particular told its story to me, and that was so fascinating at this art gathering to me. Thank you, Damian. Thank you. Yes, I remember that. Yeah, because that was the workshop Damiana mentioned, was the workshop where we used music from different regions to go to as an introduction to discussions. But we say talking textile. Textile is always talking, and it's always intimate. We wear it on our skin, or it's around us, and the way how we do it. So this one is not handmade. So here there's not that element, but still we touch it. At the end, we touch it, and there are people who say, especially so many are not visual; they're more tactile, and they say, "Oh, that's so great. It's so you may never touch art. You can just look art. And it might sound now that I'm exaggerate, but I still can feel the feeling that was in the room when somebody told me about that, who shared. I may never touch art. I may just look at it. How much frustration, because it was a person who would go with touch to explore the world, or a person who came to select one of these squares for a present. And by the way, just by chance, I knew where she is from. And so as the first one, I showed her the box with bled, which is blue, like the one here on the right side. And I was really curious what will happen when she opens the box. But what happened, it was a surprise for me, because she opened the box, she touched the square, and then she closed her eyes and she put the silk on the cheek, and she said, I will never forget when I was small at the school, our teacher, when we were not calm in the classroom, she gave us small pieces of silk to touch the silk and wait so long that we calm down. And she was so much in that emotion and in that memory that she was not talking about blade at all, but just that was again another story. Yeah. So that was the first collection. It was about Slovenia. And it started, as I say, more with an internal wish to have high quality product as a gift, to be proud when we can give that to somebody. But this was another story. That's why I chose this one, Iconoteka Valvasoriana. The person on the left on this photo is Janez Weikart Valvasor. He lived in the 17th century and in Slovenia. So his roots were in Italy, in Bergamo. So on the lower part you see, how do you say, it's not a flag, it's a gerb. So the sign of the family from Italy, but he moved to Ljubljana, and he was polyhistor. He was very, very knowledgeable. He traveled 14 years throughout Europe, North Africa. He was in England as well. He was one of the first scientists. So when I say scientist, it's meant that he observed the word and tried to understand the word, and then he was writing about that. It's not that he would explain the word with witches or, special forces. And so he was the one who described karst caves, underground world, how it develops, and he made also some plans how to make a tunnel through the Alps. The plan in 17th century was realized actually at the beginning, in the mid of 20th century. So he was also a member of Royal Society London in the same time as Newton, for example. So the Royal Society was established a year before he became a member. But we don't learn about that at school. What we learn at school is that he wrote a book called Slava Vojvodine Kranjske. It means like the glory of Carniola, of our territory. And in that book, what is written is a big collection. It's more than 5,000 pages. It's about beauties, it's about natural beauty, it's about ethnology, habits, how people lived. So it's a great book, of course. And he also have own library and also established printing manufacture. He employed some people that worked for him. So that's what we learn at school, and we know that he is very important. That just by chance, I came across the book, which is on the left side, so it doesn't look really like that. That is the inside page, because the book is in a white leather, very beautiful one. There are 7,000 graphics that he collected while he was traveling through Europe. And there are drawings with Dürer, for example, because that was the way how they communicate and how they preserve knowledge through graphics at that time. After investing all his money into the library in these books, he asked for help, and it was a Croatian bishop who bought the library. And this book, for example, and many others are still today in Croatia, in Zagreb, in their metropolitan library, very carefully preserved, in a very good condition. But we don't know about that, actually. General population. I made a survey among people with university degree, and it's quite unknown. Of course, there are specialists, academics who work on that, and they are very knowledgeable. And interestingly, when Slovenia became an independent republic in 1991, some of the academics came to idea to contact Croatian government and got agreement to have 100 copies of this book. The book is called Iconoteka Valvasoriana. But these books, they are very beautiful one, as I said. They were extremely expensive as well. They were given to the Queen of England, for example, and presidents. They are in some libraries also in Slovenia, but in general, we don't know about it. And when I came across that, with my team, we got copyrights for some motifs you see here. These motifs are flowers, butterflies, cherry, you know, because on each page in the 18th book, they were all together 18. In the 18th, it's about flowers and plants and animals in Carniola, so in the region where is Slovenia. And these drawings are, so as they were done in 17th century, like botanically correct, plus the author used watercolor, so they are really beautiful. So on the left is just a small part of the castle where he lived and where is that library. So not only that the flowers are taken, but as you see here, that pink edge and the white, the designer who translate actually these motifs into the scarf used also some other elements that are now that we can emphasize about this heritage and stories that are so important, and we don't know about that. So just recently, a week ago, I had an exhibition and we presented these scarves like being planned. Yeah, so now I will stop a little bit about talking about scarves and squares as such, not to become boring. And in the past 40 minutes, many times I mentioned, and then we got an idea or a beautiful picture, artists have done something, that's true. But it's always a long process. It takes us up to 1 year, but at least 9 months from an initial idea to the end product, because not every idea is already an image. So there are some ideas that they just don't survive because at the beginning, these were my ideas because it's my project, but it's never just about me. I always contact some other people and listen to feedback, listen what they think about. And also I explore a bit. So it's so in general that one idea becomes the end project takes time. And then another thing which is very important is to be extremely careful about copyrights, because for those people coming from the USA, probably that's part of everyday life. In some countries, that's not, it's always defined in legislation, but we are perhaps not so careful about that. We need to be very careful and have all kind of written contracts written by professional lawyers. When I talk about our scarves, our squares, it's always that the author is present throughout the whole process. This is Mitja Ficko, the author of one collection that I haven't mentioned yet, The Poetry of Joy. And it's from the beginning, and when there are test prints, because you can imagine you are professionals, how many test prints we need to make that the quality, all those nuances really correspond to what artist mind thought when he drew that. Yeah, but when we talk about heritage, I would emphasize also that we put special attention to the way how these scarves are packed. Everything is handmade. We're very careful how we choose paper. And it's not just about the quality of paper or the quality of package, but package is actually the still part of the product. It's not, this is the package that we say you retain and have scarves in it in the wardrobe, because that's the best way how to protect your scarf. And there's also a certificate which is signed and numbered. And by the way, I didn't mention, I think that all these products are limited editions. So we believe it's important to share that that we know that things are limited, that because now we could print endless number of scarves, because the printing is different, of course, in the time of digital print, but it's important to have that knowledge. It's limited. Then there is Rosarium. That's the new one. That's the collection that we put on the market 2 weeks ago. Again, different. If previous one, Iconoteca Valvosoriana, was more intellectual reaction on finding an important story. By the way, now it's also part of government protocol gifts. So Rosarium was different. Here, the idea was to offer something what is reconnect us with tenderness, with softness, with flowers. But again, it's connected to heritage. So here on the left, on the right side, excuse me, your right side, we see these roses and the story of a nun who shared food to poor people in winter time, and she was not supposed to be among them. So when somebody asked her to open the coat because he was sure he will see food, he found out actually when she opened the coat, there were roses in winter time, what was a miracle, because in winter time there were no roses. So there are stories like that that we follow a little bit. You see here is different. We in our national gallery there are many portraits with Slovenians from the past, and they are all decorated with roses. So we play a little bit with that, and also we try to we will try, because we are just at the beginning in these workshops, discussions, to initiate different discussions. I would not say now in advance what kind of discussion and what I would like to hear, but just it's an opener of discussions. So this is all, here are women. What is also interesting, that's not just in Slovenia, but that's in the whole Europe. I can say for Europe that roses or flowers, bouquets were the area in art were more women artists, not only few men. That's again could be how it comes, why, what does it mean? Ivana Kubilica is one of very known Slovenian artists living in the beginning of 20th century. This is a painting of her with yellow roses. But when I'm saying painting of her, the roses that you see here on the scarf are not her roses. These were made by paintings of for this collection was made by Gary Bukovnik. That's a Slovene painter who lives in the States. So a rose is a rose is a rose. A rose, Gertrude Stein would say, is just a rose, but I'm saying, is it? Is it? Or does it cement traditional values and role of a woman? That's something what is supposed to be discussed. I already now, when I was, excuse me, I made a mistake here, and I just go forward. Some reactions like, oh, how did you decide for this topic? You know, how that's a rose is meant a woman. It's perhaps not very appropriate for a feminist or time of emancipation of women. Yes, of course, we can have a different opinion. I believe that in different workshops, we are going to touch that story as well, or that point of view. So, of course, everyone can have own point of view. However, for me, thinking about roses, it's a rose, a symbol for respect, love and attention, beauty in diversity of all different kinds. Then it also on us to understand what was the symbol of a certain flower or a certain color of rose in the past, and also to evaluate, is that still so? I agree, or I wear it in a different way. As I started at the beginning, stories are part of our being, part of that who we are, what we tell us, you know. They connect us, and they are a source of cultural heritage and transmission from one generation to another one. These are words here saying with stories we communicate our deepest emotions and meanings. But I can tell you, in those workshops, when people touch the material, and when it's like a door opener to be aware suddenly of things that they are not in everyday life. And yes, they are bridge between the past and future, the scene and the imagination, hopefully also a source of new inspiration and creativity and new beginnings. So my invitation after these first years of experience working with silk squares is to slow down, step into the motif, touch it, allow to hear the whispers, allow to be touched internally, and to share your insights. And that's where I see the most value in these squares. So you probably noticed I haven't mentioned artists during this presentation, so I would like to say in front of you now, thank you to all cooperating artists. They are here. And thank you to you as well to be with us. Here is my contact. You can contact me anytime.